pandemic?
Well, I think there'll be continued momentum with regard to trade policies vis-a-vis the United States and China. But what I do believe that this could be the possibility of setting the stage for a possible opening or at least a dialogue between this new administration that just entered the Biden administration and with President Xi Jinping. Now, interestingly, over the course of the last week, as we saw in the two sessions, I think China is making the right moves in terms of its future economic policy. And that future economic policy is going to be dictated by reinforcing the drivers of demand rather than reinforcing and prioritizing the forces of supply within the Chinese economy. In other words, the past 2 decades of China's economic model has reinforced and given great favor to the supply side of the economy, meaning building factories, providing financial and policy incentives to encourage the expansion of its productive capacity. Now, under Xi Jinping, and most recently articulated in the two sessions, we're going to start to see a shift in the economic design of the Chinese economy towards reinforcing those forces within its domestic population to become the drivers of demand within the Chinese economy. And that certainly will achieve several things. It will rebalance the Chinese economy on a more sustainable path, but this will also begin to reduce the tensions with China's trade partners, and in particular the United States. Because when China's economy starts to become a more demand-oriented economy, whereby those billions of citizens become the sort of the driving force of the Chinese economy and less dependency on exports, this is one of the friction points that has caused a great deal of contention around the world.
Great take there. I'd also like to get your take on some of the economic benchmarks outlined during the two sessions, short-term and long-term. We heard this 6% GDP growth for 2021, and then we also heard that President Xi wants to double China's economy in the next 15 years. So I want to get your thoughts on that. Are they realistic?
Yes, I believe this is a very sort of a measured response. Premier Li Keqiang threw out the number of 6%, and by all means, that's certainly double what the United States will do. But relative to China's more recent past, this is a much more modulated and a moderated number. I do believe that China has the opportunity to achieve this figure, although, given the present state of the global economy, it might be a little bit difficult. And in terms of doubling the size of the economy, well, China is well on its way to becoming the world's single largest economy. Again, it's, most recently announced a $15 trillion economy, catching up with the United States on a very rapid pace. So I don't think it's, certainly an exaggeration to say that China will become the world's most dominant economy in the not too distant future.
About 30 seconds left, Arthur, but I want to quickly get your take on the issue of competition. We know that a lot of Chinese tech companies are out there working. There are these goals of innovation and trying to become more self-reliant. Given the current political climate, how do you see that working out and reaching some of those goals?
Well, I believe that's going to be one of the topics that's discussed in Alaska, in the days to come between Secretary of State Blinken and the Chinese negotiators. China, as a part of the sort of model that has been set forth by President Xi, not only increasing the drivers of demand, but also becoming more independent with regard to homegrown technology and less dependent on foreign sources of critical raw materials and technologies. So I think for China, they are at a tipping point now with regard to the necessity of building its homegrown technological base.